Starfield is Bethesda's only new property in decades. Massively hyped, eagerly anticipated. Does Starfield earn the pedestal it's been put on, or is it a lame reskin of Skyrim? But in space. Watch on and find out. My name is Thoraxe, and this is Strategy for Busy People. If you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you what to play. Warning. There are some lightweight spoilers in this review. Viewer Hella Energy again went to great lengths to support the channel with a 3-month trial of Microsoft PC Game Pass. This review is sponsored by him. I've strangely got a lot of hours in Bethesda titles. Between Fallout 3, Skyrim, and now Starfield, much of my free time has been donated to Bethesda. But, that being said, my nearly 47 hours in Starfield should tell you something about how this review is going to pan out. Given that I have 75 plus hours in Skyrim, you might be surprised to hear that I didn't like it very much. What I did like about Skyrim was the mod game. I would frequently load up new mods and just run around in the game to see how they impacted the look and feel. I played the game on easy and cruised through the main story arc with basically just a mace. I explored some of the side storylines, but I just never got into them. One of the best descriptions of Skyrim that I ever heard was that it really was just a walking simulator. You're watching a review of Starfield. I know. You're upset that I'm not talking about Starfield, but I'm talking about Skyrim. Sure, fine. But here's the thing. Starfield is just Skyrim in space. And it's great because of it. Okay, I know you're confused. Just stick with me. Starfield is just Skyrim in space. I said it again. You even have this Starborn special power thing that you find out about. Yeah, it's just Dragonborn on a spaceship, but that's really not important in the grand scheme of things. The main storyline, to me, was actually more interesting than Skyrim. It is a straight-up science fiction plot that would easily find its way onto the big screen. I like science fiction, so a big checkmark there. Staying with the story element, there are several primary quote-unquote factions in the game, all with their own storylines to explore. Then, there are additional minor story arcs you can explore too. If you're into the whole way that Bethesda litters the universe with lore, NPC stories, and exploration, then you will be right at home in Starfield. Bethesda put a bunch of time into all the various systems in the game. There's a decently broad skill tree, but it introduces this new system of challenges. You need to complete certain actions that correlate with the skill before you can level it up more. Some of you might find this realistic. Some of you might even find it immersive. I just sometimes find it annoying. The age-old Bethesda follower thing is there, but in this era of diversity, equity, and inclusion, you can pretty much get romantically involved with any of your followers, no matter what your character's gender is. I actually appreciate that. But your followers are still mostly just glorified pack mules that occasionally fire their weapons at stuff. The AI for them is still dumb, but the mod scene has come to the rescue with some improvements. I never played Fallout 4 or 76, but I heard there were some pretty extensive settlement management mods for those games. In Starfield, you can build yourself a space outpost. With respect to the main storyline, there's only one time where it's even remotely useful. I haven't explored any other story arcs, so I can't say if outposts really play any role. If you're interested in being a space miner or really going deep down the rabbit hole of walking simulator in this area, the outpost system is pretty deep, with ways to move goods between star systems, decorations, and more. But it's still pretty empty and devoid of meaning right now. Along with building outposts, you can extensively modify weapons, spacesuits, and more. It's going to feel very familiar to you if you spent any time with Skyrim's crafting system. And much like Skyrim, Starfield's crafting system seems mostly pointless, as you're likely to stumble across much better gear just by exploring the universe. Unless make-believe arms dealer is your thing? There's also a whole spaceship builder that I totally did not get into at all because, well, I actually don't know why I didn't get into it. Probably because I found the starting ship to be more than good enough for almost all encounters except for some at the very end. A few upgrades here and there, and I was set. The space combat is pretty reasonable, although it took me a while, and some internet sleuthing to figure out how to use the targeting system to disable ships to take them over. You can hire crew to work on your ship, and each ship has a particular crew capacity. As you rank up in skills, you can even command larger crews. Crew skill can contribute to the performance of your starship. Crew can also work in your outposts, too. Again, I haven't played Fallout 4 or 76, but in comparison to Skyrim, Starfield definitely has many complex systems that all have some level of depth. It will be extremely interesting to see how the mod scene develops things over time. Oh, and speaking of mods, don't buy the game on Microsoft PC Game Pass's store. Microsoft builds have some weird Microsoft feature in them that prevents the Starfield script extender from working right. So if mods are going to be your thing, inevitably many will be built on the script extender framework. Buyer beware. Now, lots of people complain bitterly about how buggy and ridiculous Bethesda games are, especially close to launch. What I can tell you is that I did not encounter any show-stopping bugs, but I was encouraged to save often due to some interesting glitches. People falling out of spaceships to their death, or being killed by them taking off, or things spawning in weird places were common. There are also other glitches, like being able to take command of a ship you commandeered without having the skill to fly it, and then being stuck, so watch out there, too. Before I give my final verdict, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share with your friends. Agree with me, disagree with me, or want to see other content? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to support me in making more of these videos, become a patron on Patreon. Your support really makes a difference. The final verdict. I liked Starfield better than Skyrim. It was more developed. It takes place in my favorite space. Which is, space. So yeah, it had a lot going for me. Oh, and some fun mods. Ironic Comet for the win. On my trademark 3-point score scale of avoid, meh, and I forgot to eat, I put nearly 2 days of my life into Starfield, and I actually wouldn't mind going back with some other mods to explore some of the other story arcs. Maybe I'll become a space pirate. Maybe I'll do some fish drugs. We'll see. We'll see. Thanks, Bethesda.